You caught me looking ahead. I looked ahead because I'm so excited for this chapter. It's one of the most fun. I didn't say the most good, but I did say the most fun. Are you ready? Do you remember where we left off? Who had just made it into Narnia? You're right. Lucy and Edmund. So whichever one you said, you were right. Lucy went ahead. Edmund went to follow her, and he made it through the coats, made it through the woods, and he was in the snow, out by himself, calling for Lucy, looking for her, and he didn't find her, did he? Who did he find instead? The Queen of Narnia. Did she look like a very nice queen? Not so much, but let's hear more about her, okay? Here we go. But what are you? Said the queen again. Are you a great overgrown dwarf that has his beard cut off? That's pretty funny. No, your majesty, said Edmund. I've never had a beard. I'm a boy. A boy, she said. Do you mean you are a son of Adam? Edmund stood still, saying nothing. He was too confused by this time to understand what that question even meant. I see you are an idiot, whatever else you may be, said the queen. She was not very nice. Did not have good manners. Answer me once and for all, or I shall lose my patience. Are you human? Yes, your majesty, said Edmund. And how, pray, did you come to enter my domain? Please, your majesty, I came through a wardrobe. A wardrobe? What do you mean? I opened the door and just found myself here, your majesty, said Edmund. Ha! said the queen, speaking more to herself than to him. A door from the world of men. I have heard of such things. This may wreck all. But he is only one, and he is easily dealt with. As she spoke these words, she rose from her seat and looked Edmund full in the face, her eyes flaming, and at the same moment she raised her wand. Edmund felt sure she was going to do something dreadful, but he seemed unable to move. So wouldn't you want to run away? Yeah, but he couldn't. He was frozen still. Then, just as he gave himself up for lost, she appeared to change her mind. My poor child, she said in a quite different voice, how cold you look. Come and sit here. Come up on the sledge, and I will put my mantle around you, and we will talk. Edmund did not like this arrangement at all, but he dared not disobey. He stepped up on the sledge and sat at her feet, and she put a fold of her fur mantle around him and tucked him in tight. Perhaps something hot to drink, she said. Should you like that? Yes, please, said your majesty, said Edmund, whose teeth were chattering. He was so cold out in the snow of Narnia where it's always winter. The queen took from somewhere among her wrappings a very small bottle, which looked as if it was made of copper. Then, holding out her arm, she let one drop from it fall onto the snow beside the sledge. Edmund saw the drop for a second in midair, shining like a diamond, but the moment it touched the snow, there was a hissing sound, and there stood a jeweled cup full of something that steamed. Wow. Now, Isaiah's a barista, but he's never made hot chocolate for me like that. He's never made coffee like that. You just take a little drop and it falls on the snow and psh. Pretty cool. The dwarf immediately took this and handed it to Edmund with a bow and a smile. Not a very nice smile. Edmund felt much better as he began to sip the hot drink. It was something he had never tasted before. Very sweet and foamy and creamy, and it warmed him right down to his toes. Well, this is a big change, isn't it? It is dull, son of Adam, to drink without eating, said the queen. What would you like to eat best? Turkish delight, pleased your majesty, said Edmund. The queen let another drop fall from her bottle into the snow, and instantly there appeared a round box tied with green silk ribbon, very fancy, which when opened turned out to contain several pounds of the best Turkish delight. Each piece was sweet and light to the very center, and Edmund had never tasted anything so delicious. Wow. He was quite warm now and very comfortable. While he was eating, the queen kept asking him questions. At first, Edmund tried to remember that it is rude to speak with one's mouth full, but soon he forgot all about this and thought only of trying to shovel down as much Turkish delight as he could. And the more he ate, the more he wanted to eat. And he never asked himself why the queen would be so inquisitive. She got him to tell her that he had one brother and two sisters, and that one of his sisters had already been to Narnia and had met a faun there, and that no one except himself and his brother and sisters knew anything about Narnia. She seemed especially interested in the fact that there were 4 of them, and kept on coming back to it. "You are sure there are just 4 of you?" she asked. "2 sons of Adam and 2 daughters of Eve, neither more or less." And Edmund, with a mouth full of Turkish delight, kept on saying, "Yes, I've told you that before." How would you sound with Turkish delight? Everybody make your mouth really big. And say, "Yes, I've told you that before." A big mouthful of candy. Turkish delight is sweet, 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 sweet candy. But she didn't seem to mind now that he forgot to call her Your Majesty. At last the Turkish delight was all finished, and Edmund was looking very hard at the empty box and wishing that she would ask him whether he would like some more. Probably the queen knew quite well what he was thinking, for she knew that, though Edmund did not, that this was enchanted Turkish delight, and that anyone who had tasted it would want more and more of it, and would even, if they were allowed, go on eating it till they killed themselves. Oh my goodness, that's not good candy, is it? But she did not offer him any more. Instead, she said to them, "Son of Adam, I should so much like to see your brother and 2 sisters. Will you bring them to see me?" "I'll try," said Edmund, still looking at the empty box. "Because if you did come again, bringing them with you, of course, I'd be able to give you some more Turkish delight. I can't do it now. The magic will only work once. In my own house, it will be another matter." "Why can't we just go to your house now?" said Edmund. When he had first got into the sledge, he'd been afraid that she might drive away with him to some unknown place from which he would not be able to get back. But he'd forgotten all about that fear now. "It is a lovely place, my house," said the queen. "I'm sure you would like it. There are whole rooms full of Turkish delight. And what's more, I have no children of my own. I want a nice boy whom I could bring up as a prince, and who would be king of Narnia when I am gone. While he was a prince, he would wear a gold crown and eat Turkish delight all day. And you are much of the cleverest and handsomest boy I've ever met. I think I would like to make you the prince someday when you bring the others to visit me." So sounds like she's wanting something in return for her Turkish delight, isn't it? "Why not now?" said Edmund. His face had become very red, and his mouth and fingers were very sticky. He did not look either clever or handsome, whatever the queen might say. "Oh, but if I took you there now," she said, "I shouldn't see your brother and sisters. I want very much to know your charming relations. You are to be a prince, and later on the king. That is understood. But you must have courtiers and nobles, and I will make your brother the duke and your sister duchesses." "There's nothing special about them," said Edmund. "And anyway, I could always bring them some another time." "Ah, but once you are in my house," said the queen, "you might forget all about them. You would be enjoying yourself so much that they wouldn't want to bother with going back to fetch them. No, you must go back to your own country and come to me another day with them. With them, do you understand? It's no good coming without them. But if I don't even know the way back to my own country, pleaded Edmund. That's easy, answered the queen. Do you see that lamp? She pointed with her wand, and Edmund turned and saw the same lamppost under which Lucy had met the fawn. Straight on, beyond that, is the way to the world of men. And now look the other way, where she pointed in the opposite direction, and tell me if you can see two little hills rising from above the tree. Edmund looked out. I think I can. Well, my house is between those two hills. So next time you come, you only have to find the lamppost and then look for those two hills and walk through the wood until you reach my house. But remember, you must bring the others with you. I might have to be very angry with you if you come alone. I'll do my best, said Edmund. And by the way, said the queen, you needn't tell them about me. It would be fun to keep this little secret between us, wouldn't it? Is that ever a good idea for an adult to tell kids to keep a secret from their siblings? Not usually. Especially an adult you don't know. Make it a surprise for them. Just bring them along to the two hills. A clever boy like you will easily think of some excuse for doing that, and when you come to my house, you could just say, let's see who lives here, or something like that. I'm sure that would be best. If your sister has met one of the fawns, she may have heard strange stories about me. Oh yeah, she did. She heard really strange stories about the queen, didn't she? Nasty stories that might make her afraid to come. Fawns will say anything, you know. And now, please, said Edmund suddenly, please, couldn't I have just one more piece of Turkish delight to eat on the way home? No, no, said the queen with a laugh. You must wait till the next time. While she spoke, she signaled to the dwarf to drive on. But as the sledge swept away out of sight, the queen waved to Edmund, calling out, next time, don't forget, come soon. Edmund was still staring after the sledge when he heard someone calling his own name. And looking around, he saw, who was it? Lucy, coming toward him from another part of the wood. Oh, Edmund, she cried, so you've got in too. Isn't it wonderful? And now... All right, said Edmund, I see you were right, and it is a magic wardrobe after all. I'll say I'm sorry if you like. But where on earth have you been all this time? I've been looking for you everywhere. If I'd known you got in, I would have waited for you, said Lucy, who was too happy and excited to notice how snappishly Edmund spoke to her, or how flushed and strange his face was. I've been having lunch with Mr. Tumnus the Fawn, and he's very well, and the White Witch has done nothing to him for letting me go, so he thinks she can't have found out. And perhaps everything is going to be right after all. What do you think? Do you think the White Witch knows now? The White Witch and the White Queen. Seems like they're very similar, don't they? What do you guys think? All right, we're going to find out tomorrow what happens. See you tomorrow. I'm going to read ahead.